Welcome to Exploring Miracles. Today we are going to read and dive into lesson number 13. A meaningless world engenders fear. Today's idea is really another form of the preceding one, except that it is more specific as to the emotion aroused. Actually, a meaningless world is impossible. I will just put the book a bit closer. Sorry. I needed this time because even these two first sentences confused me. And I know that it will happen all the time. That's why I'm doing this, as I have mentioned before. Today's idea is really another form of the preceding one, except that it is more specific as to the emotion aroused. Actually, a meaningless world is impossible. That is good news. That's my reflection. Nothing without meaning exists. However, it does not follow that you will not think you perceive something that has no meaning. On the contrary, you will be particularly likely to think you do perceive it. Better just continue. Recognition of meaninglessness arouses intense anxiety in all the separated ones. It represents a situation in which God and the ego challenge each other as to whose meaning is to be written in the empty space that meaninglessness provides. The ego rushes in frantically. That's the way it's supposed to be read. The ego rushes in frantically. All right, what happens then? To establish its own ideas there, fearful that the void may otherwise be used to demonstrate its own impotence and unreality. And on this alone, it is correct. I better just go on. And then maybe I go back. I will go back. I will have to fully grasp what's in this lesson. Now, the ego has rushed in. Not now, luckily, maybe a bit, but not in a disturbing way. But it has in my life countless times. Okay, so I'll continue. It is essential, therefore, that you learn to recognize the meaningless and accept it without fear. If you are fearful, it is certain that you will endow the world with attributes that it does not possess, and crowd it with images that do not exist. To the ego, illusions are safety devices, as they must also be to you who equate yourself with the ego. I better breathe a bit. The exercises for today. I'm very glad that we go into exercises, that the book allows me, the voice in the book allows me to go into exercise, because this was kind of exhausting as it started, the engines going inside. Not in a bad way, though, in an alerting way. The exercises for today, which should be done about 3 or 4 times for not more than a minute or so, at most a minute or so at most each time, okay, are to be practiced in a somewhat different way from the preceding ones. In what way? We'll see. With eyes closed, repeat today's idea to yourself. Okay, so it would be closing my eyes. A meaningless world engenders fear. That would be the exercise, as I understand it. Okay. Oh, no. Here comes the exercise. I am looking at a meaningless world. That's the exercise. Repeat this statement to yourself as you look about. Well, but I was supposed to close my eyes. Anyway, just go ahead. Then close your eyes, okay? Okay, I close my eyes after. I'm looking at a meaningless world. And then close my eyes and conclude it with: a meaningless world engenders fear because I think I am in competition with God. I'm getting chills. This is strong. You may find it difficult to avoid resistance in one form or another to this concluding statement. Oh, yes, I agree to that. Whatever form such resistance may take, remind yourself that you are really afraid of such a thought because of the vengeance, in quotation marks, the vengeance of the enemy. And excuse me for sitting like this, but I find it, then a word is in quotation marks. I always find it so ridiculous when people going, "Wah," but I do. The vengeance of the enemy. I don't want any vengeance of the enemy. It sounds like it sounds like a very exciting movie or something. The vengeance of the enemy. Soon, the theater close to you. Maybe I have the theater inside. The vengeance of the enemy inside. And I'm not trying to be funny here. I'm just reflecting on. Yes, I am trying to be funny because it creates a bit of a distance. And why shouldn't it be funny? We're going towards the light here, and that's funny. That's wonderful. You are not expected to believe the statement at this point, and will probably dismiss it as preposterous. No, not now, but I did. Note carefully, however, any signs of overt or covert fear which it may arouse. Yes, it did. And when I'm stressed or fearful, I make jokes as a defense. And I did. Yeah. Anyway, this is our first attempt at stating an explicit cause and effect relationship of a kind which you are very inexperienced in recognizing. Yes, I am. I am very inexperienced in recognizing this relationship. And I'm open, more open than before. Do not dwell on the concluding statement and try not even to think of it except during the practice periods. Yeah, the practice periods will be enough. This is kind of heavy. But it's light. It will give me... That's contradictory. Okay, anyway. Do not dwell on the concluding statement and try not even to think of it except during the practice periods. That will suffice as present. Oh. This is where I stopped reading years ago. But then I went ahead anyway, but I didn't get it. No, well, anyway, I feel like this going through the Course in Miracles again in this way. It's like a path. This is the picture that comes to me now. Mid-90s, 30-something, chaotic life, chaotic inside, chaotic outside. Like standing before a very, very, like a tropical jungle where you actually need a machete to get in. And not like the spacious forests in Scandinavia where I live. You don't need machete. Somewhere maybe you do. But this was, my life was, and the spiritual path and what was in A Course in Miracles also like that. It was like something is in there, or when I get through it, but how do I get in? Now, you get in slowly. You start making a little, soon, when you walk through it maybe 10 times, there will be a small path. Then you walk it again, back and forth, and you walk it again, and again and again, and soon that path will be so obvious, it will be there. Maybe one day it will be a broad path, and you walk through it. Maybe one day it will be like a nice road in the country, and you just walk through it, and there is air and sun is coming in, and you just walk there. So reading this, doing this is the same. You do it again and again and again, and it will become your normal way of being someday. So could I have some reflections from Tokyo? Good evening, Tokyo.
Yeah, this is the sun behind the camera, but not presently behind the camera, actually in Tokyo. And yeah, I just thought this theme of repetition that you mentioned was very interesting. That you do something again and again. and that will sort of get you naturally to understand something. I mean, that's something I found to be true. Even if you say, well, I'm going to I want to write a book. I'm not saying I want to, I'm just taking it as an example. And even if you don't know what about, if you say, well, I'll do it 1 hour a day, eventually you'll have something. You know, it's sort of, the mind works that way. That if you decide to put time into something, meditation or whatever it is, if you do it again and again, then, you know, a result will come. That's sort of an opposite way of thinking to the education system in the West today, where it's always about having a plan and then executing it. Yes. Instead of putting aside time repeatedly and then getting the result as you go along. It's just an interesting the thought that I had listening to what you said. So yeah, that's all, I guess. It was just interesting to me.
Thank you very much. May I ask how come that you choose to live in Japan?
Well, I was doing well, you're my mother, so you know that, but it's I've been interested in martial arts and doing that for a long time. So it's Eastern philosophy, religion, martial arts in particular, that drew me to Japan. And the way of thinking is like this book, the way of thinking they have over here in East Asia, which is you put in time repeatedly to something, and then what happens will be a product of that, and it will be good, and it will happen naturally, not as a result of some logical thinking. The logical thinking comes after you do it.
The logical thinking comes after you do it.
Yeah, that's worth doing something, not before.
That's worth to be repeated for me. Yeah.
So I think this book and all these spiritual teachings, you know, old and new, they're all about that, you know, letting the mind work its way to whatever it's supposed to reach by just saying, well, I'm going to do this and see what happens. And then nature will take care of it, you know. So that's a way of reducing stress in one's life. At least that's what I found. Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful what you said, and I can't get the words exactly as you put them. The logic will come after. Did you say that?
Yeah, the logical thinking or the plan or whatever will come up. The logic comes after you start doing something. Yeah.
And perhaps many of us, that goes for me, but I'm not a very logical person. But anyhow, of course, I have logic. Otherwise, I would not know how to get around. But I'm not logical. I'm more creative and emotional. And what I can relate to strongly is that the culture is in a very, to a very large extent that I live in is here in Europe, is that logic, understand logic, do it logically. What's the logical way to do this, to go ahead with this and that problem? One has to, of course, have some judgment in what kind of task do I need logic or not. But anyway, in this quest, it can come and go and come after. I don't know if that extension made sense. Maybe it didn't, but I said it, and I thank you for bearing with the slow pace of me going on with these lessons, for listening, actually listening throughout the videos, because there are many views now, and comments and subscribers are growing. So you are actually encouraging me by doing this that I actually go ahead. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And please like and subscribe. It enhances our community, and we are all trying to get more light inside, and probably that light will shine out in the world too. I hope so. Thank you.